A quick introduction to programming. A computer program is instructions that a computer runs. Humans write computer programs in a special notation called source code, or code. That code is converted into machine-readable instructions called bytecode. For example, here's some code that calculates Fibonacci numbers. You'll notice that the code is a weird form of English and almost looks like math notation. I won't go into the details of the code, but instead I'll talk about the underlying concepts used to create this code. The four concepts for writing software are buckets, black boxes, paths, and steps. Each of these concepts are used to create computer programs. The first concept used in programming are buckets, or data. A bucket is used to hold information. Buckets can be emptied, refilled, or destroyed. Let's look at how we can use a bucket. Here's an example of a bucket that holds account number information. Here we create a label for this bucket called account number and declare that it holds the number 42. In programming, buckets are called variables. In the real world, information can be complex. In programming, we have the ability to arrange our variables into more complex forms called data structures. Using data structures makes it easier to solve complex problems. As an example data structure, let's say we wanted to write a program that records bank transactions. We could use variables that define one transaction and then put multiple transactions into a bigger variable called transactions, plural. The second concept used in programming is conditions. We use conditions to tell the computer what logic or path to take given certain circumstances. We set conditions based on the values of variables. For example, let's say we wanted to write a program that automatically transfers money to our bank account when we have a negative balance. Here the condition I've set is where the balance is less than 0. In the real world, sometimes we have to consider more than one situation to make the right decision. Similarly, in programming, we often have to write conditions that lead us through multiple paths to solve a problem. For example, here is code that asks the user what is the temperature. If the temperature given is above 70 degrees, the computer displays the message, wear shorts. Otherwise, it will display the message, wear pants. No matter what, display the message, get exercise. The third concept used in programming is black boxes. Black boxes are what make computer programs powerful because they are the building blocks of complex programs. We can make our own black boxes, or we can use what other people have written. Let's say we wanted to retrieve a customer's account balance. We'll use a black box to get the balance by giving it an input. In this case, a customer ID on the left, and then it will give us a resulting output on the right. Here's the pseudocode using the black box in the previous slide. Notice that I pass in a customer ID in the black box called getBalance. In programming, black boxes are just called functions. Black boxes are what makes computer programs powerful. One of the things that make them powerful is that we can chain them together. That is, use the output of one function as the input of another function. This lets us break down complex problems. Here's an example of pseudocode to process a form submission to a website. Here's an example of pseudocode to process a form submission to a website. When the user clicks the Submit button, this code will verify the email, password, and show an appropriate page. The last concept in computer programming is algorithms. Algorithms are the step-by-step instructions to solve a particular problem. We implement those generic instructions by converting them into specific code. Algorithms use the three other concepts of programming, that is, they use variables, conditions, and functions. Algorithms should be specific enough to solve a particular problem, but not too specific that they can't be implemented in different programming languages. Here's an example of an algorithm to log a user into a website. A computer asks the user for their username and password and checks it. On success, the computer redirects the user and records their interaction. And finally, remember that programs are built using four simple concepts: buckets, black boxes, paths, and lastly, algorithms, which use all the other three concepts.